Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports from A to B. Alongside Tyler Trudeau, I'm Damon Turbitt. Today, we will be covering everything sports from Arlington High School to Boston. We will review the week that was for Spy Ponders Athletics, and we will look ahead to some very big matchups. Also, we are going to take it to the big leagues as Damon and I discuss some of the hottest topics in Boston sports. So stay tuned and be sure to follow us on Twitter at SportsA2B as we keep you updated on all things athletic. Yes, and speaking of athletics, it was a very busy week this week for Arlington Sports. That is right, Damon. And to keep you updated on all things Spy Ponder, let's send it over to Rachel Yen for the APN Sports Blast.
It was a big game day in Arlington Wednesday as the Arlington High Spy Ponders took on the Cougars from Arlington Catholic. The AHS boys basketball team extended its unbeaten streak to 18 games by besting their crosstown rivals 64-49. This win came behind another fine performance from senior forward Miles Robinson, who led the team with 24 points and 7 assists. The girls' basketball team fell to Arlington Catholic 43-37. The Cougars were led by senior guard Melissa Rogers, who scored 15 points. The Lady Spy Ponders have a chance to improve their record at home Thursday night as they take on the Woburn Tanners. On the ice, Arlington High boys hockey team also suffered an upset as they lost to Woburn 4-2. This brings the Spy Ponders to 13-2-2 overall. On February 12th, the boys host the 20th annual Ed Burns tournament held in honor of the beloved coach who led the team to 695 wins during his 50 years at the helm. A 4-1 loss against the Reading Rockets brought the Lady Spy Ponders hockey team to 3-5 in the division. They hope to bounce back in their game next Thursday against Peabody. The Arlington wrestling team upset both the number 1 and 2 seeds to clinch the Division II title at the state championship held at North Andover High this past weekend. Last year's loss to Winchester in the semifinals made this year's victory particularly sweet. That's all we have for today. Join us next time for the APN Sports Blast. I'm Rachel Yen.
Thank you, Rachel. Great week all over for Arlington Sports, but I want to talk more about the man, the myth, the legend, Miles Robinson.
Damon, I think you just mean legend. We are a witness to Miles Robinson, amazing athletic abilities. He scored one of his career 1,000th point last night on Wednesday against Woburn at the Red Gym. He threw down a monster dunk at the end of the first half and scored his 1,000th point early in the third quarter. Damon, how special is this achievement?
Well, Tyler, I played basketball for several years, and obviously I played at the high school level, and only one kid from the time I was in there for 4 years, only one kid was able to score 1,000 points. You have to score about 10 points a game per game over 4 years, so you have to make varsity 4 years or else it's going to be very tough to get to 1,000 points. The fact that he's done it in his senior season, he's not even going to college for basketball, but he scored his 1,000th point.
Ridiculous.
Huge. It's huge for Miles Robinson.
Here's what Miles Robinson had to say after the game on Wednesday.
Yeah, it meant a lot to me. About two days ago, Coach told me I had 34 left, and I got it tonight, and it was special. I liked it, but you got to thank the coaches and the guys. So.
Here are some games to watch for this weekend.
Tonight, both the boys and girls are going to Lexington High School. Can the boys keep up their win streak, and can the girls get back in the win column?
The boys and girls hockey team will also be taking Lexington on Saturday. Finally, on Monday, the boys will head over to rival Arlington Catholic for a rematch of last week's game.
We're going to go from Arlington, and we are going to head to Boston Sports, where the Boston Red Sox, they just had their truck day yesterday. They've also had their eye on James Shields this offseason, but he was taken off the market by the San Diego Padres earlier this week. That means that the biggest available name now is Philadelphia Phillies lefty Cole Hamels, and there's a report saying that he was offered a deal by the Padres before Shields was signed to the club, but that the Phillies wanted to strike a deal with the Red Sox because Boston's talented farm system. Phillies now reportedly looking to acquire either Mookie Betts or Blake Sweetheart, a couple of blue-chip prospects. Tyler, do you think that Boston would be willing to give these guys away, and should they?
Well, let's talk about the players. Mookie Betts, an extremely talented player. He's originally a second baseman, and the Red Sox kind of already have a good player at second base, so they said, hey, why don't you play the outfield instead? Worked at Pawtucket, got to the majors playing the outfield, was hitting better than Jackie Bradley Jr. when the season was going on. He's definitely very talented. And Swihart, definitely a good hitting catcher, which is very hard to come by. However, I think the Red Sox are going to stick with Christian Vasquez because the pitchers really were impressed with him in his rookie season. He was becoming such a leader. Though he might not be able to hit as well as Swihart, the Red Sox believe that Christian Vasquez could become the new Jason Varitek, which would be big.
Do you think that he'll be catching for Cole Hamels? Do you think that Cole Hamels will make his way over to Boston in the offseason?
I do believe he will be making his way to Boston. I think the Red Sox need someone to top their rotation. They got Masterson this offseason. They got Miley this offseason, and they got Parcello this season. Those are all very solid pitchers for a good starting lineup, but you need to have someone at the top of your lineup. You need your ace in the hole, and that can be Cole Hamels, especially a lefty veteran. The Red Sox just need to get him if they're going to be successful.
Right, and I think that the Red Sox need to get him if they want to win a World Series. This is a team that has been built now with World Series aspirations. They won in 2013, obviously an off year last year. Yes. They signed some huge names, Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval, just to name a couple. You have Rusney Castillo, who they signed at the end of last season. You got to bolster this pitching staff, though. They picked up Porcello, they picked up Masterson and Miley, as we've been talking about, but putting this guy at the front of the rotation, another lefty, it would be huge for Boston, and they, like we said, they do need them if they want to win the World Series.
They definitely do, and baseball season is still nearly 2 months away, but with Truck Day taking place at Fenway Park yesterday, it's only right we continue talking about the Red Sox. Former infielder turned ESPN analyst Alex Cora praised Cuban sensation Rusney Castillo yesterday, saying no doubt that Castillo will be a great hitter in the big leagues. The 27-year-old was signed late last season by the Red Sox and hit .333 in 36 plate appearances in September. A lot of great things are being said, but the same was said for international studs like Daisuke Matsuzaka. Do you still think that Castillo will develop into the best leadoff hitters in baseball this year?
Tyler, I do. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think we have a really good prospect here, and I have a really good feeling about Rusney Castillo. Alex Cora, former Red Sox player, has been coaching Castillo in the Winter League in Puerto Rico, although he is from Cuba. He's been playing baseball in Puerto Rico, and what Cora really likes about him is his ability to hit the ball to center field and hit the ball the opposite way. And if you want a successful leadoff hitter and one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball, you have to have somebody who is going to be able to hit to opposite field and get on base in that sort of way.
I do agree. Castillo is definitely going to be a huge part of the Red Sox this year, but I still think that he is going to need some time to adjust in this league. He just came from the Puerto Rican League. Not that the Puerto Rican League is full of slouches. They are definitely respectable, amazing, talented players. But coming to a new league, he's only played a couple of months in the MLB, didn't get a real feel for it as much as other people who play the entire season. I think that down the line he will be a big impact, but it may not come until halfway through the season. But with the additions of Sandoval and Ramirez, I believe that a lot of pressure is going to be lifted off Castillo's shoulders, and he can just slowly and make his way into the lineup, hopefully working his way up the lineup, and I could see him making a big impact and push for the Red Sox this postseason.
And not only does he have those hitting pieces, he's able to hit the ball the opposite way. He's able to hit the ball to center field on a line, which is very important. But as you said, pressure, it's important, because if you want this guy at the beginning of your lineup, you have to have people who can hit behind him. And you have Hanley Ramirez now, you have Dustin Pedroia, you have David Ortiz, you just have, of course, Pablo Sandoval. You have a slew of guys who can help take some pressure off of him, both in terms of from a media standpoint and from a pitching standpoint. So this is going to be huge for Boston.
This is a different team, and I'm really excited to see what they can do.
And now let's move over to some football. It takes a lot to impress an accomplished entrepreneur like Jay-Z, but New England Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman has done just that after catching 9 balls for 109 yards, including the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. Jay-Z and his group at Rock Nation reached out to Edelman. Edelman has reportedly expressed his contentedness with his current representation, but there is a possibility that he could team up with the rap mogul for marketing and branding initiatives. Now, it's hard to turn down a man with that much power, so do you think that Edelman should be taking up Jay-Z's offer, Tyler?
Let's talk about Edelman first, who, as a player, has worked and scrapped his way into this league, into a Super Bowl winning team, and into the hearts of New England fans. He has worked hard. If you haven't seen the video of him reading his draft report of all the negative things they said maybe he can be a good practice team member. He works hard for what he gets, and I think it's very respectable of him that he is sticking with the people that have gotten to where he is now. They have gone a long way together. However, Jay-Z is a walking King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold. I just think it would be stupid if he just didn't jump at the opportunity to work, not necessarily leave his current representation, but at least work with Jay-Z, because the man is just so good at getting people recognized, and this is his time.
Well, we agree, and because of its time, I agree with you and I disagree with you. I think that he should leave his current representation because I personally think that given the system and the quarterback and the coach that he is working with right now, Julian Edelman has reached the ceiling of his career. This is the best he will be. And obviously, I'm not trying to doubt him or anything by saying that, but he's going to put up his best numbers right now while Tom Brady's at quarterback. He's got the biggest opportunity in his career right now to make some more money, secure himself financially down the road. And Jay-Z, you got names like Kevin Durant, Des Bryant, Robinson Cano, joining the likes of those guys. You saw what he did at the parade. You see he's got a big personality. He can really build his brand, and I think if he was to join Rock Nation, that would really help him build his brand.
Very true. Let's move on to the court. Danny Ainge has been the busiest man in basketball over the last year, making numerous roster changes in effort to rebuild the Boston Celtics. Stars like Rajon Rondo, Jeff Green have been shipped out, and veterans like Tayshaun Prince, Evan Turner, and Tyler Zeller have filled in. The NBA trade deadline is next week, and it is almost expected that Boston is going to make a deal, getting rid of some of those newly added vets. But should Boston make any moves, or should we see what this team has to do for the second half of the season?
Well, I may not be in the same camp as everybody when I say this here, but I don't think that the Celtics should make any more moves this season because they're heading into the All-Star break right now, just a couple games behind the playoffs. I know not many Boston fans, if any, want to see the Celtics make the playoffs. Everyone's into the whole idea of tanking, but I see a couple of good rookies on this team. Not rookies, but you have Marcus Smart, who's a rookie, and you have a young player in Kelly Olynyk. I see two guys who have a future in Boston. Everybody else, they honestly will probably be gone over the next 3 years. Danny Ainge has stockpiled draft picks, but you want to help these two guys who are here now. You want to give them experience. You want them to work with experienced players. You have guys like Tayshaun Prince, who has won he's won NBA championships. So you have guys around Marcus Smart and Kelly Olynyk who can help them learn. And if they make the playoffs this year, going forward, that experience can only help them. They have 11 plus draft picks over the next few years. This team will get better, but it'll be even better if these guys have playoff experience.
I disagree with you. I am all for the Celtics continuing to trade those newly added vets to stockpile more draft picks. The more draft picks the Celtics have, the more power they are going to have. I don't know if the Celtics are just going to completely use every single draft pick or they're going to compile a lot of picks together, but the more picks, the better. I am fine with getting rid of players like Prince, Crowder, even Gerard Wallace, who has barely played this season. But I also have to look at it like this. I do not believe that anyone is going to be burning to get rid of a first-round pick for Andre Dawkins or Marcus Thornton, people that don't really have a well-known name. I feel like the best option is the Celtics going to either trade Tayshaun Prince or Evan Turner maybe. I don't think they should trade Evan Turner, and I definitely think they should keep their core, Kelly Olynyk, Marcus Smart, James Young. These guys are the future, along with Jared Sullinger. But like I said, no one's going to be burning to trade their number one pick for
But you're
Andre
saying that
Dawkins.
they should get rid of Tayshaun Prince. I think that he brings so much to this team in veteran leadership. If you have a guy like him next year as a role player, and you have a couple of these rookies who are going to develop, you might get to trade some draft picks for a veteran player. I mean, you might see yourself building a solid team if you're Boston.
I just don't see Prince being in the lineup much longer after maybe this season, maybe this week. He may finish the season with the Celtics, but I do not see him in a Celtics uniform for much longer.
Just keep in mind that Tayshaun Prince does play defense, and that is very important for the Celtics. But speaking of defense, what a season it has been for the Boston Bruins. The Bees, they stumbled out of the gate after a preseason with lofty expectations as usual. Boston began to turn things around in January after getting Zdeno Chara and David Krejci back, and they're healthy now. But Bruins Nation is on edge once again. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 contests, and they're also set to begin a tough road trip on Friday in Vancouver. 4 out of the next Bruins 5 games come on the road against current playoff teams. So should the fans be concerned about the playoff scenario yet?
There are 28 games left in the season. Right now, they are in 8th place, so they are in the playoffs right now. They are 5 points from the 7th spot, which is Washington, and they are 4 points from the 9th spot, which is Florida. I think that they can still make the playoffs. It has been a very shaky, inconsistent season for them. I think they need to start getting some consistency. I'm not saying they have to win every road game of these next 4 out of 5, but if they can go 500, that is going to be good. And they need to start consistently winning at home. If you can be a 500 team on the road and win 9 out of 10 on your home ice, you're going to be a tough team to beat. Even if they get the 8th seed and just the 8th seed, no one's going to want to play the Bruins in the first round. They are a team that is going to beat you up, and you are not going to be, even if they do beat the Bruins in the first round, you're not going to want to play much more hockey after going through the Bruins.
And I completely agree with the fact that, Bruins fans shouldn't be worried because it's tough times right now in Boston. Obviously, they're the 8th seed. They should not be there. They should be in the top 3. That's what we expect out of the Bruins at this point. But the Bruins play their best hockey when they have to be tough, and they're going to have to be tough down the stretch the next 5 games. Obviously, it doesn't kick them out of the playoffs yet. There's still plenty of regular season hockey left to be played. But I think if we have some big matchups like Vancouver, you have Calgary, you have, actually you don't play Montreal, but you play Chicago at Chicago. So these are 3 huge games on this road trip. I think it all starts with tonight's game in Vancouver. I think that if the Bruins are able, because they love playing Vancouver, it's their biggest rival behind Montreal. Obviously, the Canadiens are first. They don't play well against the Canadiens, but they normally play well against Vancouver. They get fired up. I think if they can head to Vancouver tonight and get a big team win, I think it'll really turn the luck around for the team heading forward.
That is certainly good to hear if you are a Bruins fan. Let's see if the Bruins can get it done tonight in Vancouver. But that is all the time we have for today. Be sure to stay tuned with all things Spy Ponders on APN Sports Blast and join us next week for another episode of Sports from A to B. I'm Tyler Trudeau.
And I'm Damon Turbitt. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Again, thank you for watching Sports A to B, only on APN.